Jerusalem's wall had lain in disrepair for more than 140 years since its destruction by the Babylonians in 586 BC. Eventually, Cyrus of Persia, who had conquered Babylon in 539 BC, allowed the Jews to return to their homeland shortly thereafter. Nehemiah's party, with the permission of King Artaxerxes, arrived in Jerusalem approximately 94 years after the first returnees. Through all the prior years, the rubble of the city's walls and the burned timbers of its gates had been a constant reminder of Judah's shame and weakness. The Jews had attempted to rebuild the walls earlier in the reign of Artaxerxes I, but after protests, the king ordered the Jews to stop the work. This likely led to the report made to Nehemiah and his efforts to once again rebuild the walls. Nehemiah did not encourage them to trust in themselves for this work. Instead, Nehemiah told them how God had already acted for their good. With this news, they accepted the invitation. Rather than briefly summarizing the construction work, Chapter 3 offers a remarkably detailed account of how many different people from different families of different cities with different vocations, both men and women, came together to restore Jerusalem's walls and reset its gates. They were an unlikely team, but they shared a common purpose. As each did his or her part, the work was completed. Centuries later, Jesus invited an even more disparate group to the encompassing task of rebuilding Israel spiritually. The 12 disciples included fishermen, a tax collector, and likely an anti-government zealot. As Jesus' followers grew in number, the level of diversity was only increased. They had little in common except Jesus himself, and he was enough. Through these first believers, Jesus established and spread his church. As was true with the rebuilding of the wall in Nehemiah's time, the church is built only as believers fulfill their individual roles in humble cooperation with others. The Apostle Paul refers to the church as the body of Christ. The body is made up of many parts. While each part is different, all are critically important. Each believer possesses different spiritual gifts, but the body is only complete when each is present to share those gifts. Every believer has a function, but the mission of the church can only be completed when each is faithful to fulfill that function.